Hey guys, this is Red and Blue, the channel on YouTube for all things PSG in English. Please subscribe. Today, let's do a little bit of a mercato update. It's been a few days since I've done one of those, so let me just take you through the list of players who are either on their way in or on their way out, and kind of share the latest information and rumors and tidbits flying around on the internet about all of them. And this way we can do a status check with before the team comes back to training tomorrow of where we are. So at the moment, the two hottest conversations are first with Ukrainian defender from Bournemouth, Zabarnyi. We got a tweet yesterday from Fabrizio Romano who's saying the two clubs are really, really close and the deal should be finalized in the coming days, yada, yada, yada. Same thing we've been hearing for the better part of a month now. It does seem though that the deal has made some progress. We're like basically less than 5 million apart. We're starting to hear noise of a deal being found already. Romano is saying that essentially we are arguing about the final details and the final clauses and financial points. So it's looking good. I think it's just a matter of when those I's are going to get dotted and those T crossed. But yeah, the player is in only for Paris. He's made that clear. So yeah, I think that's a deal that should be done in. I've been saying that as well for a better part of a month, but should be done in a matter of days, and hopefully with the team back in training, that helps accelerate the thing. Second one, the goalkeeper conundrum. Same thing. Fabrizio Romano in his tweet also mentioned Lille goalkeeper Chevalier. And said that essentially it's the same kind of situation. The two clubs are, have worked out 95% of the deal. Still a few details and kinks to iron out, but we're really, really close. So there too, it's something that should be happening pretty soon, and just a matter of hopefully a few days to push this through the line and finalize everything. On the other end, Gianluigi Donnarumma, the club has had a meeting with him this week. They told him that they're bringing in Chevalier regardless of what he does. So yeah, I think for him, it's going to be a question of finding the right options, which, to be honest, there's not a whole lot happening for him. Sadly, like the goalkeeper market right now, there's not really a lot of movement and not a lot of open spaces for him. So we'll have to see. I think there's a few places where it would make sense. So Chelsea, Man United, and so on. Like there's a couple of clubs who could use an upgrade. I still think Bayern Munich would make a lot of sense. With their goalkeeper pushing on 40 now. So there's like potentially places where it make sense. But right now, we're just at the beginning of that conversation. And I think, quite candidly, if I'm a team who's interested for Donnarumma, right now, I see there's not a lot of conversations going on. I see that PSG wants to bring in Chevalier anyway. I'd wait until like the 31st of August and try to get a discount like this. And so that's very well what could happen. On the other end, another goalkeeper, and that's kind of the information of the day, Arnau Tenas, who's our Spanish third goalkeeper, La Masia product that we got a few years back. Apparently, there's interest from Celta Vigo in Spain to get him. They join a list of pretenders in Spain who want to bring him as a second goalkeeper. We're hearing a value of about 3 million euros for the player, and PSG wouldn't be opposed to the sale. We'll have to see, because at the same time, there's uncertainty as well on our second goalkeeper, Safonov. Just because the Zabarnyi that we want to recruit is from Ukraine, Safonov from Russia. There's a kerfuffle going on in the world between the two countries. And apparently, it's been said to Zabarnyi that he wouldn't share a locker room with Safonov. So, if we're looking for a way out for him, we don't know what's going to happen to Donnarumma. The Chevalier deal is close but not quite done. I think there's still a lot of uncertainty in terms of who would be not only our first but also our second and third goalkeeper. And even if we picked up youngster Renato Marin from I think Roma, there's a lot of uncertainty there. So we have to see like how things pan out in the coming weeks. In defense, we finalized the sale of Milan Skriniar, who did finalize his move to Fenerbahce. We apparently sold him for about 7 million euro flat fee plus 3 million bonus that look like they might be relatively easy to unlock. So we could be making about 10 million deal overall on the player. And most importantly, we're getting rid of a player who was earning about 16 million euro a year. So a big salary in our locker rooms that went out. And so some money that we saved. Skriniar, obviously, like when he came in from Inter Milan, there was big hopes. He suffered from injury to his back before he joined us, and then a couple of times when he was with PSG. And ultimately, he's just like, not the kind of player in defense that's going to work with Enrique. So yeah, pretty happy that we found a deal for him. We made some money out of a player we got on a free. We got rid of a big salary in our locker room. Win-win-win. So yeah, like good deal, good, and best of luck to him. On the other end, Fenerbahce was also interested in some other players of ours, first of which was Marco Asensio. And, what we were hearing is that there too, the deal was pretty close, that essentially the deal with PSG was worked out. It was a matter of convincing the player. The player had initially kind of agreed on a contract offer around 10 million euro a year. And then he went back and asked for 12, which apparently pissed off Fenerbahce to the point where they just withdrew from those conversations. And I think the short of it is just that Asensio wasn't really that interested in moving to Turkey. And he was kind of playing that conversation along to see where he would go, but waiting to see if there would be any interest in the top leagues in Europe. There's not that much so far. There's been, I think last time I mentioned a little bit of a rumor around Benfica, but we haven't really heard anything new since. So wait and see, but hopefully, like he's, he figures out a way and a place to be at. It's also been like a silly rumor about Aston Villa getting him on a loan, which, Aston Villa would make sense because he was there on loan and he did relatively well for the second half of last season. But the guy only has 1 year remaining on his contract, so he's not like sending him on a loan would be essentially like selling him for free. So I have a pretty hard time believing that this would happen. But we'll see. Other player was looked at by Fenerbahce, Nordi Mukiele, our right back, who was on loan to Bayer Leverkusen for the past season. He declined the move to Turkey, and he's looking for other options as well within the top leagues of Europe. We'll see. There's not a lot of chatter around him, but I think he's a player who still has a decent value to him and is decently respected in the top leagues. So wouldn't be surprised if it's one that can get unlocked later on in this mercato or like towards the end of the mercato. We'll have to see about this. Who else? Another like Turkish rumor. Like Turkey is very active, like both Fenerbahce, but also Galatasaray is also very active. And there was a silly rumor like a couple of days ago of Galatasaray making a loan offer for Beraldo, which for the life of me, honestly, like I didn't understand like why it's even a thing. Even if he's a substitute for us, like Beraldo, I think he's ranked decently well by Luis Enrique. He played, I think, like in Ligue 1 last year. He had more playing minutes than Marquinhos, for example. So he's not starved for playing time as well. So why would we want to send him on a loan? I don't really understand. I mean, if you come to me with 30 or 40 million euro and put them on the table, like I think we can have a discussion. But sending him on loan, like he's a player who has minutes, who's a young player, he's developing in like the best team in Europe. Yeah, I honestly don't see how that even made it to the media, but that was the rumor from Galatasaray. Quick one as well. Soler, another one of our Spanish offensive midfielder. two options on the table for him, which have been there since the beginning of the mercato. Villarreal, where he wants to go, is from that part of Spain. He'd meet back with his old coach Marcelino, who he really likes. Problem is Villarreal doesn't have much money, so now we're talking about a loan with an obligation to buy at the end of the season or something to that tune. Otherwise, Brighton in England is also interested and obviously has deeper pockets to them as well. I don't think either clubs are really rushing to resolution on this one. So we'll see how it develops in the next 3 weeks. Cool. And then, so that's, I think, like, went through all of our players who were on loan last season, who we know don't have a future in PSG, apart from one, which I'll get to. We know don't have a future in PSG. Now let's talk about, like, players who are in our squad, but could be getting out. The first one of which is Kang In. And Kang In, like, it's funny, the club, PSG and him, seem to be playing a little game of gotcha through the media. There's been a lot of conflicting information making its way into different media outlets in recent days. So first, like, Kang In gave an interview in Korean media because he's on holiday in Korea right now, saying that, after relooking at the final of the Champions League and relooking at his season, what an opportunities for him, and like, is that he needs to work harder to have opportunities like this again and actually, like, be playing for that kind of game. And so, yeah, like, the short of it was a player who was very much saying, like, hey, I'm in the right place, I just need to work harder. Fair, I guess. Like, at least it's somewhat right assessment of what he needs to do. And then, like, the club also came out, and, like, I don't know if it's the club actually, but I've seen rumors and news article about the fact that Luis Enrique supposedly wouldn't want the player to go and would like to keep him in his squad, which is kind of surprising because we've seen the playing time of Lee essentially shrink and shrink and shrink throughout the season to pretty much nothing towards the end of it. And if you think of the Club World Cup, for example, we barely saw any of Kang In, which is usually a sign with Luis Enrique. It's a pretty sure sign that, player doesn't really have much of a future with him. So we'll see. There's not that much interest as well. There's still a couple of clubs in England, Man United potentially. Napoli in Italy has made noise early in the mercato, but we don't really know where they stand. So yeah, like, really not so sure. We'll have to see how this pans out. Typically, might be a player of, like, yeah, like, he might do an extra season just for lack of interest. And also because on our side, like, there's not really anyone that we rank much higher on the market. We keep hearing, fans mention Akliouche of Monaco or Mora of Porto. But in both cases, PSG hasn't moved. I was hearing actually someone say recently that, like, PSG made an offer for Argentinian player Mastantuono, who ended up going to Real. Like, the offer was around 60 million euro plus. So, like, PSG would be willing to make an offer of that amount, and could be making that same offer for Akliouche or Mora if they really wanted to, but they haven't made it to this day. So maybe, like, they're just not that interested in the players. Doesn't mean they don't move on them if Lee moves away, but yeah, like, it's not priorities at this point. I think it's very clear. Cool. And then to finish out the strikers conversation, starting with our good friend and long-standing Juventus target, Randall Kolo Muani, who was on loan in Juve for the last 6 months, who did well over there, played 20 games, scored 10 goals. Juve wants to keep him, but they essentially want to pay him with €20, split over 24 years, and a Mars bar. That doesn't work for PSG. PSG is, like, pretty clear, and I think they've been relatively clear from the start, which is saying, like, they want around 55 million euro back for that player. And whether it's a loan with an obligation to buy or a straight out buy right now, like, they don't want to entertain a loan with just an option. Juventus has been progressively getting closer and closer and closer, but they're also very much pinching penny. I checked in with my friend Ento. You've seen on the videos a couple of times. He said on the Juve side they're hoping to finalize the deal by end of this week, and they're kind of getting those promises from their management. So we'll see. Maybe it will happen, maybe it won't. There's also interest in England. So I think at this point anything could happen for Kolo Muani. The interesting other thing as well is that despite how long that conversation has been going on, and despite the fact that the player seems to put Juve as the top option for him, there's still no contractual agreement between Kolo Muani and Juve. So even for the player, I think there's still a lot of things left up in the air. So yeah, like that deal doesn't seem as close as we thought it was even a week ago. And then finally, like the other number 9 that came in at the same time as Kolo Muani, Gonzalo Ramos. Same thing as Liz. There's been a little bit of back and forth between the club and like the market in general in the media. PSG has been saying that they're very happy with Ramos, that they're okay for him to stay and keen for him to stay. But at the same time, there's recurring reports of a price tag being attached to the player somewhere in the range of 60 million euro. And that PSG wouldn't be completely closed out to talking about him, assuming there's a really good offer that comes on the table. We've got Newcastle, who's apparently put him on their shopping list, even if he's not their first option. They're looking at Benjamin Sesko of Leipzig first, but their offers keep getting denied by Leipzig. So we'll have to see. And then like Man United as well has an interest in the player. I think the strikers market in the UK right now has been completely bonkers. I mean, if you see, Liverpool paying 95 million for Ekitike, there's no reason someone couldn't be paying 80 million for Gonzalo Ramos, honestly. I don't know. We'll see how that one pans out. I think it's a case of, player. No one really knows what the player thinks. Generally, like the assumption is that he's happy in PSG, but at the same time, he's got an agent who probably not that happy with his player being the 5th option in attack for PSG. And there's a World Cup at the end of the year as well. So for him, there's really a question mark in terms of his place in the Portuguese squad. So we'll see that one. Maybe it'd be on his way out, maybe it'd stay. I think it'd be interesting to see who we might bring to replace him. Maybe that's where Rodrigo Mora conversation gets restarted a little bit. I don't know, but yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see how this pans out. Anyway, that was a long one. That's all of the information that we have for now on Mercato in PSG. The squad is back in training tomorrow. So we're finally going to get some new footage of our players, of European champions, back in training in Poissy, in Le Campus PSG. Exciting time, and starting the prep for the European Super Cup against Tottenham on the 13th. So it's going to be hectic from now on, and I think transfer market is only going to accelerate from there on. I think it made a lot of sense to not move too fast on our targets, especially while our team was on holiday. But now, wouldn't be surprised if Chevalier, if Zabarnyi, all of a sudden those deals accelerate and we strike deals and we bring the players on. We'll see, obviously. I'll keep you all posted. So for now, please like this video. Please leave me a comment on what you think of our market so far. And what's your degree of stress around the slow start to the Mercato. And yeah, please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to get notified of future videos. And don't forget, regardless of where you're going on Mercato, ici c'est Paris!